Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my channel, Do Ministry Gaming, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the mana and damage issues that I ran into with my Toxic Rain League starter character for 3.15 Expedition League. Now, I'm putting this video together because I imagine that most people who are starting with Toxic Rain in 3.15 are encountering similar issues, especially the folks who have been following my League Start guide on my YouTube channel. And so I just want to make a video here to let everybody know, how it's been and how to overcome some of these issues that you might be running into as well in 3.15. And as we all know, this is because GGG has nerfed basically everything in 3.15, and the two main issues that have come up, not even just for Toxic Rain, but for all builds across the board, is big damage nerfs, so that progression is a lot harder, and you have to invest in your damage a lot more, and also a bigger mana multiplier for your support gems, making it harder for you to use and cast your skills. And this is something that GGG wants. They have made many posts and talked a lot about it already, that they felt like they wanted these skills to be more mana intensive, so that you have to manage that something a little bit more as you play the game. But they have also come out and acknowledged that in 3.15, the changes they made to the mana multipliers were a little extreme. They've already made a post about that. And you can find the link in the description below on that if you want to read up on yourself. But basically, they said they thought that the mana multipliers were now too extreme, the ones that they put out in 3.15, and that they will be changing it in the upcoming patches. Now, with that said, that is not intended to resolve all the mana issues of all the builds. It is just to make it a little bit better. They do, again, want to make it so that the skills require some kind of mana management. And the one downside with Toxic Rain is that it is notoriously bad for mana, even before 3.15. And so in 3.15, it was really bad. And even though they are addressing it and making it better, I suspect that Toxic Rain will still be struggling with mana. And so in this video, I'll be addressing the mana issue and how I personally overcame that in 3.15 so far, and also offer up maybe another suggestion or two if you don't want to follow in the exact same footsteps as myself. I think there are a few ways around it that are all viable. And also, I'll be addressing some of the damage challenges that I came across as I progressed in 3.15 and how I overcame those. All right, so just a quick recap. I am level 87 Raider. I have done all my labs, including Uber labs, so I got all my ascendancy points. I am a 0 cluster jewel skill tree right now, and I'm not entirely sure whether I will move to a cluster jewel setup or not before transitioning to my actual character that I want to play, which will be Explosive Concoction. As you all know, this is just a league starter for me. So 0 cluster jewel setup right now. And I will say, the progression is not nearly as smooth as it was before, as expected, with all the damage nerfs. I've had to invest in my damage a lot more than I used to get to the same point. And I'll talk a lot more about that in the second half of this video. But right now, I want to address the mana issue first, which I think is the most common issue when it comes to Toxic Rain across the board in 3.15. And as you know, for Toxic Rain, typically, in my guides anyway, we're reserving Summon Skitterbots and Malevolence, which is the two I have right now. And when you have that, you have very little unreserved mana left, in my case, 116. And if I were to manually cast Toxic Rain in a 6 link like I used to before, and we can just quickly see what that looks like, it will actually cost me 63 mana, which means I cast it twice and I'm out of mana. And I have an Enduring Mana Flask, and I can use that to kind of keep it going. However, this does not feel good. I can tell you that right now. And so keeping this going has been a bit more of a struggle now, with more mana costing for the Toxic Rain and Mana Flask being nerfed a little bit. And so there's a few ways around it. Some people that I know have actually just dropped one of the two auras, leaving a bigger mana pool and having a mana potion all the time so that you can cast, more toxic rains. But you can see once that mana pot drops, that mana comes off very fast. But this is completely viable. I think it works really well, but you do lose, a decent chunk of damage, whether you lose Skitterbots or Malevolence. And so I've opted to go another way myself, which I think has been working really well. And so in my build guides, if you remember, you manually cast Toxic Rain, and when needed, you can supplement it with a Caustic Arrow totem, a Ballista totem. And so what I've done is I've literally just taken the Toxic Rain and the Caustic Arrow for the two, and I've literally just swapped them. Okay, you can follow the exact same skill links as my build guides, but I have just swapped them. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually manually casting Caustic Arrow and really using that primarily for my clear skill. And then when I get to a boss or a conqueror that I need, I will put down the Ballista totems for Toxic Rain and use Caustic Arrow as well. And so why this is better for mana, because, Caustic Arrow, you don't need to cast, 3 or 4 of them at a time to kill a pack, for example, because you don't need the overlap. As a matter of fact, Caustic Arrow does not overlap. You don't do double damage if you have two on top of each other. So you're really just dropping one everywhere on top of packs and going. And then on the Toxic Raid side, the only mana that you require is to drop the 3 totems, and then for the time that they're up, they're continually casting Toxic Rain at 50% of your attack speed, and so thus bypassing the mana issue. And I've found that this setup has worked quite well for me, and I will continue to stick with this setup as far as I can, unless I start to run into major issues, which I have not. So far, this has been a great workaround. So you can do that as well. And then finally, very quick, I guess, you can also just take the 6-link Toxic Rain setup and just use that for both mapping and bossing, and just drop Caustic Arrow. This is absolutely fine as well. The Ballista totems are fine for mapping as well, but I do find that the Caustic Arrow is much quicker if you have the two set up. But maybe you can only afford 1 6-link and you need it to do everything, then perhaps you just run the Toxic Rain totem. All right, so as for the gear side of things, typically before 3.15, on a 5-link Stormcloud, I can get to about that tier 13 range comfortably. And then I would need to upgrade to a sort of a 6-link Stormcloud setup, which would kind of get me to the tier 16 range, no problem. And then just some basic upgrades, along with Profane Proxy, maybe a Chaos Damage over time quiver. And I'm feeling pretty good about tier 16 maps and Conquerors and A5 Cyrus. Now, in 3.15, that has proven not to be the case. The progression has been a lot harder because of all the damage nerfs, of course. And so what I found was that the 5-link Stormcloud really did not get me even really into red maps. I was struggling a lot earlier on. And from that point, I had to get my damage over time multiplier both on my quiver and on my gloves kind of a lot sooner than I needed to. That kind of stretched me into, and I had 1 6-link for my Caustic Arrow on my chest piece. And so that kind of got me, into the low red tier maps. But then I really struggled. I think it was around that tier 12, 13 level. Really, really struggled. And I had to upgrade to the 6-link +3 bow gems bow. Here, this cost me 4 exalts, +3 bow gems, a little bit of attack speed, chaos damage over time multiplier. Really, getting this doubled my damage from the 6-link and a Stormcloud. I really needed that to kind of take that next step, whereas before I really wouldn't even need this bow all the way up to tier 16. I could have just gotten a 6-link and a Stormcloud and I would have been just fine. And so I had to get this bow far earlier than I otherwise would have. I got the 2 6-links far earlier than I would have. Normally you can probably just even get away with 1, but I had to get 2 to keep going. I had to get my chaos damage over time multiplier on my quiver and my gloves far sooner. And then just recently, actually, for the tier 15 16s, I had to pick up an amulet as well that also had chaos damage over time multiplier. And I also bought it with the +1 chaos gems. This cost me 1 exalt, but that was actually pretty cheap. They are going for kind of 2 to 3x right now at the time of making of this video, which is only like, day 4, day 5, something like that into the league. And at this point, level 19 gems, almost level 20. At this point, I'm feeling okay about tier 15, tier 16 maps. I'm not crushing them, but they feel smooth. I'm still dying a decent amount, but at least I can do it. And at this point, I think I feel okay with the damage. The Conquerors still take a long time to kill, and I do run out of mana. So you kind of have to watch that even with this setup. But I'm currently at 16, 17 watchstones, something like that. So I'm not even at 8.5 Cyrus yet. And so we're going to have to see with this gear and this setup as I continue to go here, how much more I'm going to need to upgrade in terms of getting there. But if you can get to this level, you should be able to pretty comfortably get tier 16 maps done. This is about 10x worth of gear on this character. So, all right, that's it, guys. That's it for this video. I hope my insights help you with your progression as well. And as always, if you have any questions, please drop a comment below. You can also hit me up anywhere you can on Discord or on stream. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please like and subscribe. I also stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Times are in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.